When life feels like it is moving toward change, it is natural to search for signs that confirm what you are sensing internally. People often look for meaning in timing, coincidence, or emotional intensity, especially during uncertain phases. But not every strong feeling is a signal of destiny or external intervention. Sometimes it is the mind responding to stress, hope, or anticipation all at once. These experiences can still be meaningful without needing to be interpreted as urgent instructions. They can instead be understood as reminders to slow down, reflect, and reconnect with your own judgment. Real clarity tends to emerge when pressure is removed, not when it is intensified. If something in your life is shifting, the most reliable guide is usually consistency over time. What keeps showing up, what remains stable, and what aligns with your values and well-being. It can be tempting to believe that a single moment carries all the weight of your future, but life rarely works in such fixed turning points. More often, change is gradual and shaped by many small decisions rather than one decisive signal. When you step back from urgency, you create space to see things more objectively, without needing to attach dramatic meaning to every feeling or coincidence. This allows you to respond with balance instead of reaction. Whatever you are navigating, the strongest foundation is your own awareness, patience, and ability to observe without rushing to conclusions. Over time, what feels confusing becomes easier to understand, not because everything changes at once, but because you become steadier in how you interpret what is happening around you. No, not for me or anyone else, just as a quiet promise to God that you are listening and being present in this moment. Now your answer is starting to come together, but you have to stay. Heaven is hearing your silence, my child, my beloved. Heaven has seen the nights when you didn't say anything, but felt everything. Now God is speaking, not through storms or thunder, but through this. I am not telling you to trust me. You are being told to believe what your soul already knows. The veil is thin right now, which is why your spirit is shaking. This message is not fun to read. If this word makes you feel something, don't keep it to yourself. Send this message to someone you think should see it right now. The anointing grows when you give what God has given you away. The things you share out of obedience become a breakthrough for both of you. Help is being given. Also, if you close this, that door could close and someone else could get what was meant for you. It is hard to hear that, but I was told to be honest, because heaven only fights this hard for people who are on the verge of a divine turning point. Someone is praying for you right now, my child. Even though you don't know their name, they saw your face in a dream last night, and I was there. That person doesn't live close to you. They have never talked to you, but they saw you and cried because God showed them something very important. Your fate is connected to something that is about to open. You will find out what has been hiding behind your struggle if you listen, stay, and lean in. Not a single time have you failed. The forge is hot from all the work you have done. A lot of people give up just before the gold starts to form, child. Don't leave now. Don't let the silence win. Your name is written on a spiritual record in heaven, my child, my beloved. Today it was opened. The Council of Light looked over what took too long, was stolen, or was unfairly kept from you. I have to say that the verdict was a surprise. Some things have been ordered to be fixed, but not all of them. For people who answer within this window only, time does matter. That is why the pull was felt in your soul. If you don't pay attention, the window might shut, and it will not be possible to open it again until the next spiritual cycle, which will not be for months. Don't take that chance of being late. You can take this message as proof, and since you are still reading, the alignment process has already begun. Subscribe right away if the music makes you feel aligned. It is not out of habit, it is a spiritual sign. When you subscribe, you say yes to staying in line with the prophets, hearing what God has to say next, and being ready for what is happening in this season. Before we go on, please hear me clearly, my child, my beloved. It is not just about you, it has to do with generations. These words will cause a shift in your life and the lives of those around you, even people you haven't met yet, if you believe them. While you read, the future is being made, and I tell you with love and fire, don't take this moment for granted. You are on the verge of a breakthrough that looks like a choice. This is where being aware leads to action. As a sign that this message is meant for you, please write, "I receive this," in the comments. Instead of a hope or a wish, say this to show that you are ready for what heaven is letting out right now. The spirit world will hear what you decide in the next few minutes. If you trust, doors will open without locks. If you choose to be afraid, heaven will understand, but being quiet will cost you. I have something to share with you, my child, my beloved, but I was told not to until you got to this point. When you whispered that desperate prayer through tears the first time, even though you thought no one was hearing, it was heard, and a plan got going. That plan led you to this very moment. God now wants to know what you will do. Are you going to stay and listen? Are you ready to let your heart open? Because if you do, today, the blessing that has been held for you with your name written in gold will come true. If not, though, you will have to wait longer than planned. Plus, you have had to wait long enough, right? Please take this in with all your heart, my child and beloved. You are not imagining things if you have been having strange dreams, seeing numbers over and over, or feeling like something is always trying to get your attention. There is a divine promise after you. At times, when something feels emotionally charged or deeply personal, you might feel an instinct to pull away, distract yourself, or stop engaging with it altogether. This is a common response, and usually has more to do with how the mind handles intensity than with the meaning of the message itself. When ideas touch on uncertainty, change, or self-reflection, they can create a sense of discomfort that makes stepping back feel easier in the moment. That reaction isn't a sign of hidden influence or outside pressure. It's simply how attention and emotional processing work when something feels demanding. Some people choose to sit with that discomfort and explore what it brings up, while others return to it later when they feel more prepared. Both approaches are valid, but they shape experience differently over time. What helps most is staying curious about your own reaction, instead of turning it into a story about fate or inevitability. When you observe your response without rushing to assign meaning, you gain more control over how you engage with what you're seeing or feeling. If something resonates, you can explore it thoughtfully. If it doesn't, you can let it pass without forcing significance onto it. This creates a more grounded relationship with your attention, where decisions are based on clarity rather than emotional pressure. Over time, that kind of awareness helps reduce overthinking and builds a steadier sense of judgment, allowing you to respond to life with more intention and less reactivity. My child, my beloved, don't let that happen. Part 2. I am going to take a moment to spell it out for you. This message sounds strong, but it is not meant to scare you. It is meant to get your attention. When something keeps calling to you, it is probably because you were busy and haven't paid attention, not because you don't want it. Things like this don't cause distress, they just delay understanding. It is not about commands or stress. You have to choose to listen when someone or something important is trying to get your attention. You are not in panic if you feel like you need to keep listening. That is your awareness waking up. Please stay until the end. Heaven leaves, but sometimes there is no silence. It comes when we don't pay attention. Please hear this again with your soul. My child, my beloved, You are not imagining things if you have been having strange dreams, seeing numbers over and over, or feeling like something is trying to get your attention. There is a divine promise after you. Heaven doesn't beg. Heaven speaks once, twice, and then lets you make your choice. This is the second message. There will not be a third. After that, there will be silence, which may feel calm, but it is distance, and distance costs something. So I was told to raise my voice in this message, to reach the part of you that still remembers the sound of heaven, and gently shake your spirit. My beloved child, if something inside you tells you to scroll away, that voice is not your spirit. The thing that is trying to stop your miracle is resistance. Don't believe the lie that this is just another message. I need to pause here and speak to you from my heart. Someone reading this right now has been carrying a weight alone for so long. You never asked anyone for help. You just kept going, quietly, faithfully, in the dark. These messages exist for you. They are built for the ones who feel forgotten. If this work has ever found you at the right moment, if it has ever given you just enough strength to keep going, please consider supporting it through the Ko-fi link in the description and pinned comment. Not for me, for the next person sitting alone, who needs to hear exactly what you just heard. You know what that moment feels like. That is why your gift matters. This is your message. You wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to see this. You are here though. That means God sees you. Heaven is calling you, but it is not yelling. It is calling in a soft voice that can be heard in the wind right now. What if you don't listen to the whisper? The wind might change, the moment might pass, and you might feel the pain of what could have been. My child, my beloved. Looking at life through a reflective lens, it's common to reinterpret difficult periods as part of a larger process of learning and adjustment, where moments that once felt confusing begin to make more sense with time and distance. Delays, setbacks, and unexpected changes often feel frustrating in the moment, but they can also become turning points in how a person understands themselves and their choices. What once seemed like rejection can later be seen as redirection, not because everything is predetermined in a fixed way, but because experience has a way of shaping resilience, awareness, and discernment. Growth often happens quietly, in ways that are not immediately obvious while you are in the middle of it. Over time, you may notice that situations you once resisted ended up steering you away from outcomes that would not have supported your long-term well-being. This doesn't require interpreting everything as a sign from outside forces. It can simply be understood as the natural unfolding of cause, effect, and personal development. As you reflect, you begin to see that your path is shaped as much by how you respond to events as by the events themselves. What matters most is not forcing meaning onto every moment, but allowing yourself to learn from what has already happened and use that understanding to move forward more intentionally. In that process, patience becomes less about waiting for certainty and more about building trust in your ability to navigate uncertainty. Over time, that trust becomes a steady internal anchor, helping you make decisions that feel aligned, thoughtful, and grounded in your own experience, rather than external pressure or fear of missing out. Heaven has been talking about you, but now it is talking to you. It is possible that destiny will walk away if you don't listen. The conversation will move on. Right now is your chance to say yes before it is gone. There is a strong voice calling you when I say, my child, my beloved, I mean right away. Heaven is heavy with the weight of every answered prayer. You have been at a spiritual crossroads. You can go back to what you already know by taking one path. The other way takes you to a place you have only seen in your dreams. This message shows the way. This is the sign you asked God for. You do not need to be sure again. You don't need another voice. You only need to answer. After you do that, things will start to move in the spirit world. You don't need keys to open doors. People who forgot about you will remember your name, but if you skip over it or wait, the door will stay shut and your spirit will hurt for no reason, child. Don't let that happen, my child, my beloved. Holy forces are watching over you right now, not to judge you, but to see what you will do next. One of the few people who still has time to change, return, and get back what was taken from you in secret. But that time is running out. Heaven doesn't wait a long time, and we do what God says, like He is telling us now. That is why I don't want you to open this. I want you to do this. You are not ignoring a message if you don't pay attention to this. You are not paying attention to a miracle that is already set to happen. I was there and saw it. When your name showed up next to the blessing, I cried because I thought you might scroll past still reading. There is still time, but it is not much. It is not long, and it is not time to do nothing. You are not being punished, my child and beloved. Someone is after you. You are being woken up by heaven right now. The shaking, the weight, the peace, mixed with fire, are all signs of this. You thought this was just a video or a post, but this is a way in. Only those who are willing to listen can go through when God opens a door. Along with you, I see an angel right now. They were given to you when you clicked. They have a scroll in their hands that has your name and a verdict written in gold on it. You will not get it though, until your heart says yes, until you believe again, and until you act with faith instead of fear. That is what makes the shift happen. Not hard work or perfection, just trust. The spiritual battle for your life has reached its peak, my child. When people reach moments of discouragement, it is common to interpret it as a final judgment on themselves or their future, as though earlier mistakes have closed every remaining door. But life does not operate with that level of finality, even if emotions sometimes make it feel that way. What actually tends to happen is that experience accumulates, and with it comes a clearer sense of what matters, what doesn't, and what direction feels more aligned with your values now rather than your past choices. It can be helpful to think of your journey less as something being decided over you and more as something you are still actively shaping through each small decision you make today. There is no external verdict being delivered on your worth or your possibility. There is only the ongoing process of how you respond, adapt, and continue. Feelings of being the come, behind, the bortinga, often come from comparing your internal experience with an imagined timeline. But real growth does not follow a uniform schedule. It moves in cycles, sometimes slow, sometimes steady, sometimes surprisingly open after periods that felt closed. What matters most is not forcing certainty about what comes next, but staying willing to engage with what is in front of you right now, even if it feels imperfect or unclear. Over time, that willingness tends to create more stability than pressure or self-criticism ever can. You are not being measured against a finished standard of your life. You are still in the process of discovering what it can become, and that process allows for far more change than doubt tends to acknowledge. He never turned away. You did. You are now being asked to come back, not to be shamed or punished, but to serve. You are not out of the running. You are an interesting person. Take a moment to think about this. Type Amen in the comments if you want to choose to believe again, even after being let down or waiting too long. That is how you can say, I am still here, and I am not giving up. Heaven only gives power to people it trusts, and you are one of those people. That is why your fights were so tough. Darkness can only fight things that carry light. Your light never went out though. It was hid, and it is being lit up again right now, if you want it to be. My beloved child, you think you failed too many times. I want to be transparent with you for a moment. This ministry runs on faith, and faith needs feet. If God used these words to remind you that you are not forgotten, that your light never went out, then you already know the value of what this is. There are thousands of people who will never find this message unless someone makes it possible for it to reach them. If you are in a season where you can give, even a small amount, the Ko-fi link in the description and pinned comment is how you become part of sending this light to someone who is still in the dark. And if you cannot give right now, that is okay. God knows your heart. Stay with me. You believe that God is finished with you. But listen to this again. You shouldn't be mad at God. He is ready for you, like a parent waiting at the end of a long road for his child to come back. He didn't turn away. You did. You are now being asked to come back, not to be shamed or punished, but to serve. You are not out of the running. You are an interesting person. Heaven only calls people it knows are trustworthy, and people have faith in you. That is why your fights were so fierce. Darkness can only hurt things that carry light. Your light is still on though. It was hid, and it is being lit up again right now if you want it to be. You must know how rare this moment is, my child, my beloved. This isn't something God does for everyone. A lot of them scroll by. A lot of people make fun. Many don't care, and heaven lets it happen. But it was different for you. A divine interruption was needed, and I was picked to give it. That is how holy you are. That is how important your calling is. This message is not meant to feel distant or generic. It is meant to meet you in a quiet moment, the kind of moment where life slows down just enough for you to finally hear what your heart has been carrying for a long time. You have walked through disappointment, confusion, and seasons where it felt like no one truly understood the weight you were holding. Yet somehow, despite everything, you are still here. That matters more than you realize. There is a reason certain moments pull your attention and stir something deeper inside you. Sometimes life becomes quiet before clarity arrives, before strength returns, before a new chapter begins to take shape. Right now, you may not fully understand why certain doors closed, why certain people left, or why some battles seemed harder than they should have been. But growth often happens in hidden places, long before it becomes visible to the world around you. The people who underestimated your resilience may not recognize the person you are becoming, and that is okay. This season is not about proving anyone wrong or seeking revenge for past hurt. It is about rebuilding your confidence, reconnecting with your purpose, and discovering how much strength was quietly forming inside you all along. You are not falling behind in life, even if it sometimes feels that way. Some journeys take longer because they are shaping you for responsibilities, opportunities, and relationships that require deeper wisdom and stronger character. Instead of rushing your progress or forcing outcomes, allow yourself to move forward with patience and trust. Not every breakthrough arrives with noise and attention. Some of the most important changes begin quietly, through reflection, healing, and the decision to keep going when giving up would feel easier. Stay present in your journey, because there is still more ahead of you than you can currently see. This is where everything changes. I want you to seal this moment before we go any further. Sign up now to show that you agree with what God is doing. It is not about notifications. It is about where to put it. As the promise comes true, those who stay connected get clarity, confirmation, and protection. My beloved child, do you know what happens in the spirit world when a soul like yours finally pays attention? There is a sound in heaven. It was louder than thunder and quieter than a whisper. There is a sound that means heaven and earth agree on your name. The spiritual air around you is changing right now. As you open your heart, doors that cannot be seen are shaking. Chains of delay are getting weaker. And this moment's timing is making something happen that not even angels can change. God is calling more than just you. He is getting ready to reward you. He will not make you though. There is free will for him. Because of this, Your yes has more power than you think, my child, my beloved. It is not because you are cursed that life has been so hard lately. It is because you were called. Heaven's weight doesn't crush people when it rests on them. It wakes them up. That is what has been taking place. Attacks, stress, and confusion were all signs that you were getting close. Darkness doesn't waste time on souls that don't have a purpose. You were picked out because you were marked. Furthermore, today, heaven is letting you go. The war that was meant to break you is about to make you stronger, but only if you trust someone one last time. This message is not meant to scare you. It sounds like a trumpet, letting everyone know that the chosen one is ready. There is a miracle for you, my child and beloved. This isn't a sign. It is specific, ready, and kept in heaven for this time of year. But miracles happen when you move. They are not just sent. Something I have learned is this: the people who support this work are never just donors. They become co-laborers in something they may never fully see. A message goes out. A stranger finds it at their lowest moment. Their life shifts, and somewhere, someone who quietly gave through the Ko-fi link in the description and pinned comment was part of that miracle without ever knowing it. That is the kind of giving heaven notices. If you feel something stirring right now, do not push it down. That stirring is not random. They are turned on, and this message is the moment you can start. It is not lost or stolen if you walk away. It will just be delayed. How many more waits can your spirit handle? Already you have had to wait longer than most people. You have passed tests that other people would have failed. The reward is now coming your way. Are you going to take it? Are you going to open your hands? Or are you going to end this and doubt your calling again? A prophecy was made about your life before you were even born, my child and beloved. That prophecy is still resonating, like a divine alarm going off in heaven. Everyday life was never meant to be for you. That is why you were never happy with average things. There was no comfort for you, because you were not made for it. You were made to make calls. Also, calling always costs money. But listen up. The price has been paid. You kept going. You made it. Now heaven is telling them to give up what is theirs. But you need to get this. For heaven to let go, earth has to do something. Now is the time for you to respond. Don't miss it. If only I could show you what I see. My child, my beloved, right now, your name is shining in the spirit world. Heaven has brought attention to you right now. People in both realms are interested in your assignment because it has a glow about it. Angels are making plans for your paths, but they are also making plans for things that will distract you. That is why this message is so important. What is being set in motion today could be delayed by a single moment of doubt today. Yes, you need to be ready for what is coming. This message is the last bit of preparation. That is why I was sent. That is why the wind brought you here. It is not just a video. Divine visitation is what it is. What I see is beautiful, my child, my beloved. I wish I could show you. The spiritual world is filled with the light of your name right now. Heaven has made a circle around you. Your assignment has a shine that is stirring up both worlds. While angels plan your routes, forces are also trying to take your attention away. That is why this message is so important. What is being planned for you tonight could be pushed back by one wrong move or moment of hesitation. Yes, tonight, you need to be ready for what is coming. This message is the last bit of preparation. That is why I was sent. That is why the wind brought you here. It is not just a video. What a divine visitation this is, my child and beloved. If you have been seeing numbers like 111 or 333, having more vivid dreams, waking up at strange times, or feeling spiritual pressure for no reason, these are all signs that something is going on. These are not just random events. They are spiritual signs that the divine is close. These were the last few ways your guardian angels could get your attention. A message from me, Archangel Michael, with no extras, no filters, and no changes. When someone goes through a period of emotional strain or uncertainty, it is natural for the mind to search for meaning in everything that follows. Timing can start to feel loaded with importance, and small moments may seem like turning points. But real change in life is usually quieter and more gradual than it first appears. It builds through choices, reflections, and the way you respond after difficult experiences, not through a single moment or message. After reaching a low point, even subtle shifts in your thinking can feel amplified, as if life itself is signaling something urgent, when in reality, it is your own awareness trying to reorganize itself and regain stability. What you may be sensing as, quote, significance, end quote, is often your mind recognizing that you are at a stage where direction matters again. This is not about external forces deciding outcomes, but about how your decisions, attention, and persistence shape what comes next. When you are more emotionally open or vulnerable, everything can feel heightened, including hope, fear, and expectation. That is why grounding yourself in what is real, steady, and observable becomes important. The future is not determined by a single reading, moment, or sign. It is shaped by patterns over time, what you consistently choose, what you return to, and how you care for your own stability. Even after difficult periods, people often find that what felt like an ending was actually a transition into a more grounded phase of understanding. The most reliable shift does not come from urgency, but from steady awareness and patient rebuilding of confidence in your own judgment and direction. That person is waiting for the version of you that steps into alignment. Things will happen in your life that will not make sense. My child, people will want to know how. They are going to try to figure out the blessing, but you cannot measure favor. What is coming to you doesn't make sense. It is wonderful. It is restoration that doesn't make sense. It is divine compensation for each night you went without an answer, every silent prayer, and every effort that was missed. God saw everything. He also said that when the time came, He would bless you in a way that doesn't make sense to people but does to God. And now I have to say something that only some of you will understand. There are people who give not because they have much, but because they have been through much. They give because they remember what it felt like to have nothing but a fragile hope, and they want that hope to reach someone else. If that is you, if you have walked through fire and you are still here, and if this message has spoken to something real inside you, the Ko-fi link in the description and pinned comment is how you turn your testimony into fuel for someone else's breakthrough. That time has come. I have to tell you something very important right now. My child, my beloved, please don't look away. It wasn't that God left you that there was silence. It was because heaven was getting stronger to break down walls that no one else could get through for you. That time of year wasn't lack of activity, it was getting ready. At the exact moment you thought God wasn't there, angels were sent to help you. The wait wasn't a punishment, it was about positioning. Things are going to change, but only if you don't leave this message in its last few seconds. For many, the miracle doesn't happen until they leave. Heaven will respect your choice and keep quiet if you leave now. That is not a threat, it is a law of spirit. Someone close to you doesn't know that heaven has been closely watching you, my child, my beloved. They are not nice to you. They don't care about your prayers. They don't see your light. They don't know that the spiritual world has been brought into action to help you. Your name is written on scrolls in heaven, and what is written on them would make even the most powerful people on earth feel small. You are not like most people. You were never that. The pain you felt wasn't just happening to you. It was a sign of calling. People who are meant to do great things are the only ones who are tested the way you were. From now on, I say this with the power of heaven behind me. It is time. You have to pick trust. You have to pick obedience. If you want signs, you don't need to run away from them. They are already here. That is one of them. Before the shift. This is the last one. That is exactly how I was told to say it. The last one, before the shift. My beloved child, I can feel your spirit asking, why me? I will answer you. It is because you have something that no one else does. People, even ones you haven't met yet, will be freed from chains by your voice, your presence, and even your breath. That is why the resistance tried to shut you up by making you feel bad. That is why worry, weight, or doubt tried to sit on your chest, because miracles start to happen as soon as you speak. You have been held back for too long. I can feel your spirit still asking, why me? I will answer you again. Because you have something that no one else does. People who haven't met you yet will be able to break free from chains with your voice, energy, and breath. That is why the enemy tried to shame you into silence. That is why worry, sadness, or doubt tried to shut you up. Why? Because when you speak, beautiful things happen. You have been held back for too long. This message isn't just about your freedom. We are now moving on from hearing to activation. Right. I am ready in the comments. If you are ready to move forward with what God has already told you to do. It is not about being seen. It has to do with availability. Heaven reacts to people who want it to. You are supposed to do this. You should do what it says. God is saving more than just you. He is getting you going. There are people waiting to hear the sound of your obedience. Heaven will check to see if today is the day you say, I am ready. I am ready should come from your spirit, even if your voice shakes or your faith seems weak. That is enough. There is someone you have been waiting for, my child, my beloved. There are moments when a past relationship continues to echo in your thoughts, not because you want to go back, but because part of you still wishes for resolution. It's a very human impulse to hope that closure might arrive through the other person finally saying the right thing, or acknowledging what happened in a way that makes everything feel complete. But in reality, that kind of closure rarely comes from outside. More often, it forms gradually within you as you begin to accept that some chapters don't end with mutual understanding, and some answers never arrive in the form you expected. Healing starts when you stop waiting for someone else to define the ending for you, and begin allowing yourself to interpret the experience in a way that supports your own stability. What hurt you in the past does not get to decide the direction of your future, even though it may have shaped how you see things for a while. Over time, you start to realize that moving forward does not require revisiting every detail or receiving validation from the person who caused the pain. Instead, it requires a quiet commitment to yourself, to no longer organize your life around unresolved moments. As that shift happens, the intensity of old memories begins to soften, not because they disappear, but because they lose their authority over your present choices. You begin to build a sense of closure that is not dependent on apology or return, but on your own decision to stand fully in your life as it is now. This kind of internal resolution is steady and practical, grounded in self-awareness rather than expectation. It allows you to acknowledge what happened without letting it define what comes next, and it creates space for clearer thinking, healthier boundaries, and a more stable emotional foundation. In that space, you are no longer waiting for an ending to be given to you. You are actively creating one that lets you move forward with greater clarity and self-respect. This moment determines whether the wind blows by or lifts you into a new space where everything makes sense. As my child and beloved, I have prayed for you for years. They might not know your name. They might not know you yet, but they have seen you in the spirit world. They have asked you to come out. This message is the link between their prayer and what will happen to you. This is how heaven moves slowly, strategically, And all of a sudden, it is happening right now. That is why you cannot scroll off. It is possible that you will end up better off if you leave before this message is over. Before I go any further, I want to ask you something, not to make you feel obligated, but because I believe in being honest. This work takes time, prayer, and sacrifice to bring to you. If it has given you even one moment of clarity, one night of peace, one reason to hold on, please consider giving back through the Ko-fi link in the description and pinned comment. And whether you give or not, I want you to know that the message does not change. You are still seen, you are still called, you are still here for a reason. This isn't fear, this is the truth. This is holy ground. Heaven gets closer to you every minute you stay. You are about to walk into a room where your name was already being called. My child, my beloved, you are about to get a call, a message, or an invitation that will amaze you so much that it will make your knees weak. It will feel too good to be true, but it will be. God hasn't forgotten what He said. What was put off was not denied. What was taken will be returned with more. The number next to your name looks like it is written twice. I see a divine decision being changed. I can see that people who are against you are becoming quieter, not out of spite, but because you are getting stronger. You will not need to defend yourself. You will walk in good fortune. To my child, my beloved, I need to whisper something to you that only a soul like yours can understand. You stood tall, even though the storms were meant to destroy you. You went through betrayals that would have broken most people, but you are still here. That is not luck. That is how you keep things. God never gives up on people He wants to raise up. You are on the verge of a prophetic moment that will change the course of your life. What you thought you lost is now being put back together. What made you cry is being used for something else. The wounds that made you weak will now make you strong, but only if you see this message as holy and not just noise. If you leave, heaven will be quiet again. Your blood has a spiritual gift that no one else has claimed before you. My child, my beloved, your life wasn't meant to repeat itself. You were made to break them. You have seen the same things happen over and over in your family. You have seen how blessings come and go, and promises that never come true. This is not something you made up. That is war, and that is generational resistance. But God has picked you to be the one who stops them. What broke? The person who wakes up what other people have settled for. That is why they sent you here. That is why you felt like an outsider in your own story. It was never meant for you to fit the old mold. Someone told you to write a new one. This message gives you the peace of mind you have been looking for. If you walk away, the cycles might keep going. But if you answer, people in the future will honor your name, because you were the one who said yes when heaven called. My child, you have a spiritual inheritance that no one else has claimed. You were not made to keep the cycles going. You were made to stop them. You have seen the same things happen over and over in your family. You have seen good things come close, but never stay. You have seen promises come true, but not work out. This isn't making things up. This is a war, patterns of generations. But God has picked you to speak up, to get rid of the link, to wake up what other people accepted. That is why they sent you here. That is why you often feel like you don't belong in the old story. The old plan was never meant for you to follow. You were made to make a new one. This message is the word of comfort your soul has been looking for. If you say no, the cycles might stay. But if you answer, people in the future will be amazed at your name, because you were the one who heard heaven's call. A huge blessing is already in the air around you. My child, my beloved, this isn't a metaphor. It is a spiritual truth. It has been hovering while it waits for permission to land. This blessing is too holy to waste. so God will not give it to you until your heart is ready to receive it. It is not just for you, it is for your future and the future of those you know. It is the kind of miracle that changes a whole family tree. Now you know why this message was sent. As this inner shift continues, you may start to notice that what no longer aligns with you naturally begins to fall away, not as a punishment or loss, but as a form of simplification. Life has a way of clearing space when you stop forcing yourself into situations, roles, or expectations that don't reflect who you are becoming. This process can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been used to measuring progress through external validation or constant reassurance. But over time, it becomes easier to trust that not everything meant for you needs to be chased or defended. Some things simply don't stay, and that can be understood as redirection rather than rejection. What remains is often more honest, more stable, and more supportive of your long-term well-being. You begin to see that your path doesn't need to be proven through comparison with others or through imagined outcomes that place you in competition with anyone else. Instead, it's shaped by small, consistent choices that reflect self-respect and awareness. Even success, in its healthiest form, doesn't need to be about proving a point. It can simply be about living in a way that feels aligned and sustainable for you. When you release the need for external narratives about your future, you create room for your own to develop more clearly. And in that clarity, you're better able to recognize what supports you, what drains you, and what simply doesn't belong anymore. Over time, that awareness becomes its own kind of strength, one that is quieter than urgency but far more enduring. The shaking you are feeling isn't destruction, it is moving things around. What was stopping your next chapter is being cleared by God, people, things, and even thoughts that don't help you get where you want to go are being taken away. It feels like loss, but it is really freedom. You were never meant to move those heavy things. In light of this message seems more important than others. This is holy. You cannot miss this chance to open a door. I have to stop here for just a moment. Think about how you found this message. Think about everything that had to happen. Every click, every scroll, every distraction you almost chose instead. And yet here you are. That was not random. And the fact that this ministry was there when you arrived matters. If you want to be part of keeping this door open for others who are searching the way you once were, the Ko-fi link is in the description and pinned comment. Even a small act of faith at a holy moment carries weight that cannot be measured. The weight might stay if you leave now. The things that are going wrong will start to make sense if you stay. Even as you read this, my child and beloved, a prophecy about your future is coming true. The shift is not going to happen in the spirit. It has already started. The question is whether or not your faith will change along with it. They wait for proof before they act, which means they miss their breakthrough. However, faith moves before the ground does. This is what needs to be done right now. The map will not be given to you in its entirety. You will be told what to do, and this message is the order. Let your heart open, believe in your calling, move forward even if you are not sure what to do. You will find that doors open faster than you thought. People will want to know what went on. You will know it started when you believe the message heaven wrote just for you. In this section, I have one more truth to tell you, my child. It is only for those who have read this far. There is a secret reason why your life took so long. You thought you had failed. You thought it was the wrong time. But the truth is that you were hidden. God kept quiet around you not to punish you, but to keep you safe. What was being made around you had to be kept secret. It took time for the calling on your life to grow, and that season is now over. You will start to notice a strange favor. People will find you. There will be no need for you to force your way into chances. Friends and family will invite you. That is how you will know this message is real. No one was rejecting you by being quiet. It was getting ready for the announcement. There is something holy going on around you right now, my child, my beloved. It is there, even if your normal eyes cannot see it. While most people sleep through the world's noise, you wake up in divine silence. There is something in that silence. It is a veil. An angel is writing your name on scrolls of good luck behind it. God is telling forces you don't even know about what to do behind the scenes. That is why your life has seemed to be turned upside down. The energy has changed, and some people have pulled away from you for no reason. They didn't turn you down. They were being taken away and cleared out because what is coming needs a clean environment. You cannot bring old habits into this new promise. This is why God is calling, and this is why I am writing this message. Do not wait. Do not bring up the past when talking about the promise. What is behind you taught you what it was supposed to teach you. Now turn. Look ahead. Move forward. You cannot remember the miracle. The thing is moving. My beloved child, my beloved child. Right now there is a holy event going on around you. While most people sleep through the noise of the world, you are awakening through divine silence. Even if your eyes cannot see it, that lack of sound is not a void. It is a veil. An angel is writing your name on scrolls of good luck behind it. God is telling forces you don't even know about what to do behind the scenes. This is why your life has seemed to be turned upside down. When a period of change begins, it is easy to become overly focused on meaning, as if every interaction or absence must signal something significant about your direction or purpose. But not everything carries that level of symbolic weight. Some moments are simply part of the natural flow of life reorganizing itself. What becomes important during these times is not trying to decode every shift, but maintaining a steady sense of awareness about your own choices and priorities. Forward movement does not require certainty about everything ahead. It requires the willingness to stay engaged with what is directly in front of you, instead of becoming anchored to what has already passed. There is a common tendency to believe that missing out or falling behind happens in one decisive moment, but in reality, it is usually the result of gradually losing attention to present opportunities because of distraction, regret, or overthinking. Staying connected to your life means continuing to act, reflect, and adjust rather than waiting for the perfect sense of clarity before doing anything at all. It also means recognizing that your value or direction is not defined by whether others remain close or step away during different phases of your life. People come and go for many reasons that often have little to do with personal worth. What remains consistent is your ability to choose how you respond to change and how you structure your next steps. Progress is not reserved for a select group or marked by special signs. It is built through repeated, ordinary decisions to keep moving, even when the path feels uncertain. Over time, that consistency tends to create a clearer sense of direction than any attempt to interpret meaning from uncertainty ever could. And if you feel that this space has been a place of real encounter for you, I want to ask you to invest in it, not out of guilt, out of gratitude. The Ko-fi link in the description and pinned comment is how you say thank you with your hands. God will see it, and so will the next soul you help reach without even knowing their name. It really does mean everything. Heaven can see that you are ready, even if you aren't perfect or fully ready. And sometimes, all God needs to change things is for people to want to. Now, my child, my beloved, a change that needs to happen soon has already begun. Now I have to be honest. If you wait too long to respond, the shift will still happen, but you might not be able to see it from the middle. This is the quiet pain that many feel as they see a promise they once kept play out through someone else because they didn't act when it mattered. Now is that time for you. It is holy. It feels soft. It is important. The window is open, but not very big. The timestamp on this message doesn't show when it expires, but when it was first sent. What comes next depends on what you choose. If you say yes in your heart, things will happen that no amount of work or planning could ever make possible. It will happen without any trouble. That is divine speeding up. No one has been jealously watching you from afar, my child, my beloved. They have been interested. They can tell you are not like them. People in the room feel like something changes when you are there. This isn't being proud. This is being present. The idea that God was with you and leading you, even when you couldn't feel Him. You have always had this anointing, but now is the time for it to show up. Be real and bear fruit. That is why this message seems heavy. I am not just giving them hope. It is the spark. It is not just prophecy. Now things are different. You are not made to live a quiet life. You are made to shine, not to get attention, but to do something as you read these words. Your task is to wake up. It is not fear that is making you shake. It is fire. A door to money is about to open for my child, my beloved. This is not something I say lightly. The delay that was on your hands has been seen, and it is being broken not by chance, but by alignment. You are being put in a flow that you could never earn. This is not enough food to stay alive. It is a provision for a reason. It will come from places you didn't expect, people you didn't see coming, and systems you didn't make. This will not make sense to most people, but it will make sense to you, because you will remember this moment. You will remember this message, and know it wasn't a guess. It was an order. Notice, my child, my beloved. I have to tell you something that might make you cry if you let it. You have never been by yourself, not once. I stood next to you every night when you cried. Heaven's eyes were on you in every room where you felt like no one could see you. We saw every betrayal, and every time you wondered if you were worth it, and we were not let down. We felt moved. What you said wasn't what made you strong. It was in the way you kept going even when no one praised you. God knows about everything. Now the reward is quickly coming your way. Get it now, not because you have to, but because God has chosen to give it to you. Not fair grace, not deserved grace, never-ending grace. My child, my beloved, you will soon hear a name you have never heard before. It is one that heaven has saved just for you. There will be a door you cannot open by yourself, that this person will hold the keys to. Use your mind. Prepare. Remember that not everyone you are sent is your job. Here are some answers. You will know when this person shows up, because the timing, the peace, and the presence will all match what you have heard here. Don't question it. Don't let the past ruin your plans for the future. Keep your door open. Do not harden. Heaven should do what it does best. Thank you for paying full attention. If you have stayed until the end, you don't realize how important the choice is. Messaging doesn't come to rule us. They come to get us back together. There is no silence for you. You are being asked to become clear. When we listen at the right time, direction gets stronger, not weaker. If we don't pay attention to ourselves, confusion grows. Take some time after this. Take deep breaths, thoughts. There is a way to stay in touch with messages that help you stop and think. You can subscribe if it feels right to you. You are still being led. You will still be safe. If you still haven't missed anything, please share this. Many people also find meaning in being part of communities that encourage reflection, support, and shared growth. When individuals come together around uplifting ideas, it can create a sense of belonging that reminds them they are not navigating life entirely on their own. These spaces are often built on shared values, such as kindness, encouragement, and the desire to improve one's mindset and actions over time. While each person's journey is unique, hearing perspectives from others can help broaden understanding and offer fresh ways of interpreting personal experiences. Some are drawn to content that explores spirituality in a symbolic or reflective way, while others simply appreciate messages that bring calm, motivation, or a moment of pause in a busy day. The important part is not to rely on any single source as absolute truth, but to use what resonates as a tool for thoughtful reflection and balanced living. Growth tends to happen gradually, through consistent awareness and small choices that align with personal integrity. If you choose to support creators whose work you find valuable, that support is best approached as a voluntary expression of appreciation rather than an obligation or expectation. Even simple engagement, such as attention or sharing feedback, can be meaningful in sustaining creative work. Ultimately, what matters most is that you take what is helpful, leave what is not, and continue building a path that feels grounded, respectful, and authentic to your own experience. We can also recognize that inspiration can come from many different places in life, and it is healthy to remain discerning, while staying open to new ideas that encourage growth, clarity, and emotional balance. What you choose to engage with should ultimately support your well-being, your focus, and your sense of direction moving forward in practical ways, in everyday life practical decisions.